Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about personalized nutrition, this huge, booming field that promises to craft the absolute perfect diet just for you. You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. 1 minute, coffee is good for you. The next, it's not. Should you be eating more fat, less fat, go keto, vegan? It's all so confusing. And it really gets you thinking. What if there's no such thing as one healthy diet for everyone? For decades, we've pretty much relied on these one-size-fits-all guidelines, the food pyramid and all that. But here's the thing. That advice is based on huge studies of entire populations. And honestly, it hasn't really worked out all that well. The success has been limited, and more people are questioning if that approach is even the right way to think about food. And if you want proof, look no further than this number. It's pretty shocking. Only about 1 out of every 8 Americans is considered metabolically healthy. That means having the right levels of things like blood sugar and blood pressure. It's a huge red flag that the advice we're getting just isn't translating into real-world health. Okay, so this is where personalized nutrition makes its grand entrance. The whole idea is to stop looking at the crowd and start looking at you. It uses your very own data, your unique genetics, the bacteria in your gut, your lifestyle, to build a nutritional game plan that is tailor-made for your body and your body alone. So how in the world does this work? How does a company take a sample you send in the mail and turn it into a grocery list? Let's break down the process. Most of these services use a pretty simple 3-step model. First, you test your biology, usually with an easy at-home kit. Then you take the advice they give you, which could be anything from a full meal plan to specific supplements. And finally, you track your progress, usually with an app, to see how your body is responding in real time. So the first layer of data they look at is your genomics. This is your DNA. Think of it as your body's permanent blueprint. These tests will scan for little variations in your genes that can tell you things like, hey, you metabolize caffeine really slowly, or you might have a higher risk for certain conditions based on your genetic makeup. But your DNA blueprint is fixed. It doesn't change. For a more up-to-the-minute picture, they look at your microbiome. Yeah, this means analyzing a stool sample, but it gives them a snapshot of the trillions, literally trillions, of bacteria living in your gut. And this gut ecosystem is a powerhouse. It affects your digestion, your immunity, even your mood. Here's the best way to think about this. Your DNA is like the architectural blueprint for a house. It shows all the wiring, all the potential connections. But analyzing your microbiome's activity, that's like walking through the house and seeing which lights are actually switched on right now. It shows what's active, what's happening at this very moment. It's the difference between what could happen and what is happening. Now, with a promise this big, a diet designed just for you, it's no surprise that a massive industry has sprung up around it. So let's follow the money and see just how big this business of bespoke diets has become. And the numbers, they're just wild. The personalized nutrition market is projected to be worth over $35 billion by 2030. This is not some small niche trend anymore. This is a full-blown financial juggernaut, and investors are pouring money into it. If we look at where this is all happening, North America is the biggest market right now. That makes sense, right? There's a lot of consumer awareness here. But keep your eye on the Asia-Pacific region. It's the fastest growing market in the world, thanks to a huge population that's getting more and more health conscious. And when you look at the major players, you can see they're all tackling this a little differently. You've got Zoe, which is all about your gut health and how your body handles sugar and fat, using things like continuous glucose monitors. Then there's Valm, which focuses more on preventing chronic disease by looking at your microbiome's gene activity. And then you have a company like Noom, which takes a totally different path, focusing on the psychology of eating and using behavioral coaching to help with weight management. Okay, but let's be real. Behind all the incredible hype in those billion-dollar numbers, there are some pretty significant challenges. It's time for a reality check on where the science actually stands. The first big hurdle, the cost. These tests, the monthly subscriptions, the custom supplements, they add up, and they're expensive. This creates a real paradox, where the very people who might need this kind of guidance the most are the ones who can't afford to access it. Next up is the trust issue. We are just flooded with marketing that makes incredible promises. But the hard, independent science to back up many of these commercial products, it's still playing catch-up. It leaves you, the consumer, stuck in the middle, trying to figure out what's real science and what's just really good marketing. And hey, don't just take my word for it. A report from the UK's Food Standards Agency put it very clearly. They said the science here is highly complex and still in the early stage of understanding. That's a huge statement. It means there's a big gap between what's being sold and what scientists can say for certain. And finally, there's this huge regulatory gray area. Is a nutrition app just a wellness product, or is it a medical device? The line is incredibly blurry. And because of that ambiguity, companies can make some pretty bold health claims without having to meet the strict standards that actual medical products do. It's confusing and, frankly, a bit risky. But even with all these hurdles, this field is moving forward at an incredible speed. So where is it all going? What's next on the menu for personalized nutrition? You can really see the evolution here. We started in the past with those one-size-fits-all rules. Right now, we're in the present with all this multi-omics testing. But the future is about holistic, AI-driven health, where what you eat is a core part of preventing illness before it even starts. And there are 3 big trends pushing us toward that future. First, get ready for way more integration between AI and your wearables. Imagine your smart ring giving you instant feedback on how that dinner you just ate is going to affect your sleep tonight. Second, we're going to see a bigger push for sustainable personalization, plans that are not only good for you, but good for the planet too. And all of this is building toward that ultimate goal, food as medicine, a world where diet isn't just about weight loss, it's a primary tool for managing your health. Which brings us to a final, really fascinating thought. As food and technology and medicine all continue to blend together, are we heading toward a future where your next trip to the pharmacy isn't for a pill, but for a prescription that's actually a recipe? The answer to that could completely change how we think about what we put on our plates.